This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's recording from his car, not a spaceship, but I guess, I wonder how much, the difference between a cockpit and a driver's seat is, it's not very, I'm sure that some cars call their driver's seats cockpits. I wonder if there's ever, this is, there's the stories, but don't let it. What about a cockatiel in a cockpit? Has there ever been a pilot? I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be on a commercial airline that has a pet cockatiel, or just a book, the cockatiel. I'll have to do that as an episode. Please remind me of this, because right now I'm in my car recording. But I was just thinking, if my car is the same size as the M1. I don't even know. I think the M1s might be even smaller, right? Because because Baby Oso has it's like a one-seater, like not even a two-seater, because Oso's in the Mandalorian's lap. So anyway, just thinking about is it the M1 or the N1? Also don't know that. That's the Mandalorian's new ship this season. And you know what? I'm about to take off on a journey to dreamland. Welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company as you fall asleep, because you deserve a good night's sleep, and because myself and a lot of other listeners have been there in the deep, dark night, tossing, turning, mind racing. Structurally, what to expect. We've got support. That's how the show comes out twice a week for free. Then we've got a long, meandering intro. You do not want to miss out on that intro. It's meant to ease you into bedtime. And it's kind of the one thing that, most of the regular listeners hear some part of the intro, and that's about it. But there are people that hear the whole show. That's why the shows are over an hour, because there's no pressure to fall asleep. But the intro eases you into bedtime. It makes you feel a part of something, because you're here with me, and there's a bunch of other people gathered around the proverbial warm, safe place, or, at a distance, holy cow, you say, yeah, I prefer to look at that warm, safe place from a distance. So, whether you're traveling a spaceship like a Mandalorian, or you're singing from a distance like Bette Midler would, it's time for the podcast. Oh, so the long meandering intro, then support, then we'll talk about the season 3 of The Mandalorian, but in a super meandering way. And I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And this is how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. All right, it's Scoots here, and it's time to fire up the plus, which I guess isn't going. I thought I had it open on here. And watch a little Mandalorian. I'm still recording in my car, just like the last Mandalorian episode. Interesting. Oh, there's Disney Plus. All these, some of these services are cutting their names down. I say, why not call yourself the Disney or the Plus? But they said, no, thank you. Also learned a huge gap in my ignorance of like somebody who's playing one of the Mandalorians today. That was interesting. Our very own Jon Favreau. Not that he's the Mandalorian's very own the Mandalorian, the Jon Favreau from The Mandalorian is also playing a Mandalorian. I won't spoil it for you, but probably most reasonable people figured it out, even though I didn't, and someone had to kind of point it out for me and say, dude, how'd you, I say, well, yeah, no, Scoots is not, I'm known for my meanders, not my astute observations, and, yeah, just like I love Jon Favreau, Paz Visala. I need to learn. Yeah. At this point in the season, growing on me. But when I'm sorry I took Bo-Katan's side in that or projected my, whatever it was. That's a me issue, not a you. That's a me thing, not a you thing. And the fact that I can't pronounce Paz Vasala, which is probably still wrong. That's my problem. That's why I make a sleep podcast. But I always appreciate it being pointed out, and something that H to the Izzo, like there's something that rhymes with that. That's a surprise. And this is an episode full of surprises coming up. It's called okay, here it's starting. It's chapter 22. Oh boy, huh? It's a chapter 22, season 3, episode 6. I didn't brainstorm the it's Friends for Hire. Friends for Hire. There's we've all been in a situation where we've wanted someone as a friend, and then we said, well, if I buy, like, we didn't say it out loud. Hey, if I buy you this, you think you'd be my friend? But we've all, at some stage in our life, or for some of us, many, many, many stages of our lives. Okay, I got my notebook. You shouldn't have heard anything, though, because this beauty of editing. But yeah, so it starts off with last time. And this is kind of an episode sequence I had forgotten about. Another case of pirates, where Mando and Baby Oso, this is where they first meet Bo-Katan and the Night Owls, right? That's what they're called, the Night Owls, where they're dealing with a fish friend and pirates. And the Night Owls come and say, don't worry, we got you. And they say, Baby Oso, thank you. They take off their helmets. You're not Mandalorian. You took your helmets off. Oh, you're one of those Mandalorians that doesn't take your helmet off. Then we see the Gideon and the Darksaber, and must be one in battle, he says. And we see the N1 or the M1 from this season, lounging on the throne, stolen fleets, I lost it all. They're going through the galaxies. Then we see the Build-A-Bear workshop where they think the Mandalorian has bear stuffing, but Bo-Katan comes, takes the Darksaber, and frees the Mandalorian pretty easily. Then they talk creed. What do we stand for? Without the creed, we're scattered across the galaxy. You rescued me. I'll be in your debts. Grogu's watching it. Then we go to this most recent episode. Take your helmet off. Some people have strayed from the way. It's not enough for a few to walk it. Bo-Katan walks in both worlds. She's going to bring other Mandalorians back to us so that we may be together. But she shows her face. Well, she walks in both worlds. I don't know if there's probably a song out there about it. Hopefully it's industrial, because that's the kind of music that I think fits this. Okay, then it goes to black. And okay, then we get the Lucasfilm and then the Star Wars sequences. What else we got here? Doors open. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. So this is a very interesting beginning of an episode. And a ship I've never seen before, a style of ship, kind of golden. So yeah, we see stars. Then the camera pans up to the right. We see a kind of interesting looking ship. It's got a little crustacean going on it, but it's not. And it's got four jets or four things. Door opens. Someone's got a martini glass, a fancy martini glass with a fish in it, and then there's someone in a tank, and they put the fish in the tank. I guess it's a fishtini. Says thanks for the fishtini. Then they say, by the way, we're on we can get around Trask, no problem. But Imperial ship, Captain. Imperial, how powerful? Pretty big ship. Okay, well, call them up, hail their leader, and we'll talk about it. And then the fish, it's like a human-sized fish tank, a humanoid-sized fish tank. So it drains, and then the captain sits in a commander's chair, captain's chair, a throne-like thing. Then we see a big Imperial ship. and says, "Hey, Imperials, what's up? We're Quarren. We're peaceful, headed to do business in the Mid-Rim, and we didn't realize there was any payoffs in this sector. So sorry about that." And the other says, I'm not somebody that takes payment. No, I didn't mean it that way. Basic's not my native tongue. I meant to say we're not aware that any of our friends were in the sector and that we needed to hire them for friendship. And then we see the Mandalorians on the ship, Bo-Katan's old crew. And it says, yeah, we're Mandalorian, but you're too late to hire us. We've been hired. Shugoff said to track you down. Maybe it says, well, that's not right. Axe Woves, baby. We're privateers, individuals for hire. Price is high. We're good at what we do. And we're loyal. And we're here to, even though, you might pay us more, we're Mon Calamari Viceroy. Says his son's on board. Or says their son's on board. Yeah, we got peace with the calamari. Why would I do that? War's no good. What's it good for? Well, we know it's about love. Come on. This is a love story, but it's the kind of one we get involved in. And then we have a kid, a Mon Calamari kid or teen or young adult come out, says, yeah, we're in love. I'm not going home to mom and dad. And they say, yeah, you are. Go ahead. Let's make this quick. We got something on Plaisir 15 we got to get to. I don't want to go back to my wretched palace. Oh, no, please. And they say, Captain, talk to the Mon Calamari kid. Says, you got to go with him. No, I love you. Yeah, I can't. This is a childish fling. I can't give up my ship and everybody. Childish fling. That's not really what I meant again, but you got to go with them. Fate was not on our side. Well, who cares about fate? I love you. And I will always love you, as was once sang before and will be sung again. Even in the Mid-Rim, it gets sung, and I will always love you. And Casca Reeves takes Mon Calamari, says, come on, kid, come with us. And the door closes, and the title card comes up, The Mandalorian. Don't cross your A's, by the way. In Chapter 22, Friends for Hire. It'd be cool if it was like Buzz and Woody were singing at the beginning, but no, we see Bo-Katan's ship in the atmosphere. More atmospheric flying, more jet trails, more clouds. It clears out. We got a green planet with domes, fancy dome cities. There they are. This is a lot of high comedy in this episode. Starting like in kind of classic sci-fi fiction. But they see the Mandalorian's fleets. Took a long time. Bo-Katan says to put that together, get it from the Empire. Yeah, I thought it looked familiar. It'll come in handy taking back Mandalore. Well, Axe Wolves is their leader now. That's Wolves with a V. I thought it was with an L, but wonder what they're here for. Was planned it's not part of the New Republic, so, maybe they hired them. Can't imagine Wolves is going to be happy to see you. Probably not. Grogu's right up front. We'll land outside the perimeter, go in on foot. Then this music plays, kind of 8-bit music. Welcome to Plaisir 15. It's the only remaining direct democracy. You've been assigned a docking slip, and you'll be guided there automatically. So they get a tractor beam that guides them to a landing pad. And what's happening? They've taken over the ship. We're just going to have to roll with it. I guess we're going for a ride, kid. Grogu loves it. And we see this is kind of an ultra modern looking city. It's not, it's triangles. Is that what, was it Buckminster Fuller into triangles or octagons? I don't know, but I'd say, is that a Fuller Dome or not? And a wiser person would be able to answer that. They come off the ship. There's two shiny black droids, R2 unit, and not a C3PO-esque, like a protocol droid type unit. I guess they're Imperial droids. They say, welcome RA-57. Go to the Hyperloop pod. And they say, holy cow. So now this is one of my dreams, is to ride on one of these Hyperloops. And my understanding is this is all vacuum tubes, man. Like if you ever watch like steampunk movies or even movies, like I guess this is two styles of Gilliam here. Oh no, that's the next episode. Sorry. Yeah, so we got one flavor of Gilliam on this side. I feel like it wouldn't be I guess it's I don't think there's pneumatic tubes in every Terry Gilliam film. But one out of all the films might not be bad. But there is the next episode. I said, is this, did Terry Gilliam direct this? And there's high humor in this. And also there's I don't know, is Jon Favreau a Gilliam fan? Because there are a lot of thematic things in this season. I mean, they're handled differently, and this is a nice shiny planet. Okay, so they say, why do they have Imperial droids on this independent world? It's the Outer Rim. It's different out here. Okay, so then they get in one of these pneumatic tubes, or Hyperloop. I assume it's pneumatic. I guess it could just be some sort of fancy maglev thing. They say, let's go to the Mandalorian fleet. Sorry, Article 9 of the Coruscant Accords. You got to deal with the High Senate to go into the peacekeeping zone. Can we scan your chain codes first? So they put out their chain codes. And they get scanned. And they say, okay, well, Din Djarin and Bo-Katan Kryze, you're requested by the democracy leaders. Well, yeah, we're busy. Maybe later. Do not attempt to leave the vehicle. Not a request. And then they take off. They didn't scan Grogu's chain code, by the way. What age do you get a chain code? What other things does that entitle? Does that give you retirement or what? But yeah, so they go through ultra-modern city, indoors, inside a dome, green stuff. Say, yeah, we're going to have to get out of here probably the hard way. And then they park. Grogu says, what? And then we jump, this is fun. It's a nice fountain, nice structures. And they go into this room. And this is probably worth pausing or watching multiple times. I'm going to have to pause it okay. So there's music playing. And this is like a little bit of, what's that movie called? Alice in Wonderland, it feel to me. First off, there's parrot-type birds flying indoors. There's a party going on. And the substance they're consuming from the party it's a secretion. Ain't no party like a secretion party that you don't ever, just don't invite me. I mean, especially in my current state, I'd say, yes, sorry, I don't imbibe in secretions anymore. And I'm not, this is not Scooter. That's not a tangent. That's like, I'll tell you, so they walk in the room, a lot of bright colors, pretty, hey, welcome to the party. And then you say to yourself, or I did, what time are we at here? We are at 10:52. Okay, so you're at the head of the table, and we still haven't, I don't think, got a close-up yet, but if you pause it there, you're like, wait a second. This is literally when I was watching it for pleasure. First of all, there's beautiful bright colors. There's a lot of natural lights. On the right-hand side of the screen, there's something that looks like a purple giraffe or something. On the left side of the screen is something like a seahorse bird on someone's chair. And it's a royal table. It's got flowers. And then at the end of at the head of the other side of the table, even now, first of all, you say, is that Lizzo? And then also has some sort of spectacular, multicolored, I guess like later in the episode, it's like some sort of simulation, 3D projection, like, what would you call it? Plumage? because it's not like it's like a accoutrement for a dress, and then the other person is Jack Black. I say like in like some sort of uniform that matches what Lizzo's wearing, but with like a gold cape. And it is very comedic. Says, come on, special guests, in an Alice in Wonderland type thing. Hope you like secretions. We're taking a little sippy sips. So it is funny. And then we see the secretor. We see birds. People are chatting. Party's good, man. It says, let's address the bantha in the room. Yeah, I used to work for the Empire. Facilities planning officer, but went through the Republic amnesty, rebuilt Plaisir 15, and fell in love. So Plaisir, went through the tough times with the Empire. Captain Bombardier, helped with the nobility, and we fell in love. So Lizzo's from the royal family. And they're in love for sure. Grogu loves it. Like, I don't know if he's ever seen two people in actual love before. And I don't know, like, it's great when, like, guest stars are having fun. And I mean, I did accidentally read some people that were like, but this is like a style of the other two seasons of Mandalorian where there's one or two break episodes. So, like, where, I mean, this is still advancing the plots. So, also, I'm just pausing it here, and I can't remember. Jack Black's got a serious beard going, and then Lizzo has like a I don't know if it's a crown. What do you call the things that not a crown, but it's like a, what is that thing called? It's not a tutu. That's what you wear, but it's like a tutu. Does it have the same thing? Like you put it on your head, but it's not a crown. But Elizabeth says, "Can I hold the baby?" He doesn't take kindly to strangers. She just like runs a fish, and Grogu flips and lands so fast. They're all laughing, probably because they had so much secretions. I said, "Yeah, we held direct democratic elections. We're royals and elected leaders. But what about those Mandalorians in the peacekeeping zone? Oh, they're our protection. We don't have a military because my husband's a former Imperial, but all our resources go to growth and to the people." And I said, "We'd like to talk to these privateers." "Yeah, sure, but something else is going on. Just one condition: you got to come see the view." And you can tell that's code. Even Jack Black's so good at being bad at holding secrets. Let's just show our guests the view. So at this point, she's not the countess, but she says, "We have a problem, a droid problem. Coordinated malfunction of droids, we think. Why do you think that?" Well, it's I oversaw. We converted the droids. We rehabbed them, and yeah, to serve our people. Well, it started out wasn't too power cycling, deleted stacks, then a couple crashes, fender benders, and then some weird stuff. What does this have to do with us? Well, these are battle droids. Battle droids, Mandalorian says. They're civic duty battle droids, former battle droids. And why don't you have the Mandalorians? They can't come in the city. They're peacekeepers. We can't have anyone entering our city. But good news is, this is just funny. We're a pluralistic society by votes. So you're Mandalorians, and you're kind of tough by trade. So you're allowed to come in here and be tough by trade. So you want us to deal with the droids? Exactly. Okay, hold on, Your Majesty. Oh, and they realize they already know who they are because they say Princess Kryze. Is that Bo-Katan Kryze, right? Says, hold on. Your Grace. You could call not Majesty, Your Grace. It's not going to be charity. Well, we're not mercenaries. Oh, no. We don't mean that. Grogu's getting petted. We hope that this excursion would be an act of diplomacy between our planets. And, we would formally recognize Mandalore as a sovereign system. Petition the New Republic to recognize you. And we know you and Axwove split up because of Mandalore. So they have a lot of information. And she says, okay. This is a well-written episode. Okay, the offer stands. And Bo-Katan had 15 minutes as to Mandalorian. Well, what do you think? He says, you had me at battle droids. So just a lot of layers of fun stuff in here. And then we go down, and this one was wild. You say, wait a second. I'm sorry. Are my eyes deceiving me? They go down to the control room. And as soon as you hear the voice is talking, they're talking about the stockpile of Imperial robotics. Is that who I think it is? And it is. It's Christopher Lloyd who played Doc Brown, which is weird because Doc Brown just came up in an intro a few months ago. But yeah, these droids are reprogrammed. He's in uniform. They were supposed to be scrapped at Carthanon. There's even one oh boy, I didn't even notice that. Is that one walking a baby? That's at like 1520. There's a droid walking a baby across one of the main cameras. Yeah, then all of a sudden, like this garbage droid started throwing garbage collection droid. So we get a sequence of video cameras of droids acting out. And then there were others. There's a droid delivering packages from shopping, starts throwing the person's clothes. Then another droid takes a car without permission and has a fender bender. Then there's a sushi droid who cuts the sushi not the right thickness. And says, turn it off. The screens? No, why don't you turn the droids off, yo? Bo-Katan says that. Like, who's in charge of that? He goes, you silly goose. You just press this button and it turns it off. But that's a problem. A problem? Yeah, the citizens voted against the interruption in droid services. They need the droids. Why is that? Citizens don't have to work. The droids do everything. Everybody spends their days in recreation, the arts, and participating in our direct democracy. So if we shut down the droids, no one would know what to do. And our whole society would collapse. Holy cow. And they say, well, what do you want us to do? Seek out and decommission the broken droids until we can figure things out. And they say, you got a list? He goes, no, I don't got a list. You got to go down to the lower level and speak to the Ugnaughts. And the Mandalorian says, Ugnaughts? And we say, Ugnaughts? That sounds familiar, but I don't remember exactly what it is. And Mandalorian says, yeah, I loathe droids. You see why? And Bo-Katan says, I think you're taking this personal. It's not personal. And they go down to the basement level, sub-basement level, where there's like a lot of droid and metalwork going on, a lot of mechanical work, and including sparks and stuff like that. And Bo-Katan says, what's going on? And they kind of, we're here on the behalf of the Duchess. Okay, the Duchess and Captain Bombardier. And they kind of ignore Bo-Katan, but Mandalorian's dealt with an Ugnaught before. Bo-Katan says, this isn't going anywhere. Again, we get this partners in crime thing with those two. He goes, I'm friend of Ugnaught coolies. And they go, whoa, really? You'll answer our questions. I've spoken. So then we get them all sitting. They're very serious people. And the Mandalorian has to do the formalities. Thanks for sharing your table with us. We're trying to hunt down these droids. There's no malfunctioning droids. And Bo-Katan says, by the way, yeah, there are. Have you watched the news? There's like ones that don't cut sushi the right thickness. And they go, we're aware of everything. I assure you, there's no droids malfunctioning. And Bo-Katan says that there is. People want their suit. This isn't this case, though. Ugnaught says, I've spoken. And then the Mandalorian has to intervene. Okay, we're not saying it's your fault. You're legends. Don't worry. We're just saying that we're supposed to track down the ones that may or may not be working properly, and we could use your help. So please, I've spoken. And the other dude whispers to another dude, and then they say, "Give me that, give me this thing. It looks like some sort of adding machine." He says, "This is a list of broken droids." All right, we're in your debt. I have spoken. Then they get back in one of the vacuum tubes. Bo-Katan says, "So what's up with that?" He goes, "Yeah, I've hung around Ugnaughts. You got to communicate with them a specific way. Can't tell them they're not good workers." But the next thing's going to happen at the loading docks. So we got to get to the loading docks. How sure are they? Hard to tell because they're very sure of themselves. So I don't know. But it's the only lead we got. So let's take a look around. There's trouble in my behind. So they go to loading docks. Looks like it's on the water. It's nighttime. There's a lot of battle droids carrying cargo. Looks like they're either unloading or loading. I haven't seen any battle droids since Clone War. Who says I have? Do they look suspicious? They all look suspicious to the Mandalorian. And then there's a droid in charge. They say, "Give me a droid in charge." He says, "I'm the foreman. What's your identification?" They go, "We don't need it. We're here from the Duchess and Bombardier. And somebody's not working right." Yeah, I've heard the reports. I've checked all these out. Mandalorian's doing his own inspections. They say, "Don't do that. We've got the certification for the elevators and the droids on file in the office if you want to look at it." And the Mandalorian's still like, Bo-Katan's trying to say, she's trying to get to the bottom of it. Mandalorian starts trying to trip the battle droids. He says, "What are you doing? These droids don't like being tested." And finally, one droid does not like being tested and goes on the run. So we get a chase sequence. And this is pretty good because it kind of switches. So they're chasing a droid through these ultra-modern streets. Like I put Tango and Cash, 24 hours or whatever. Like kind of like, Lethal Weapon. That's another one. Like two people that are working together that don't necessarily like each other. Well, they do, though. They just have different styles. But yeah, so then they're chasing the droid. The droid's trying to get away, and the droid's really fast. Finally, Mando goes into like a sushi shop, maybe the same sushi shop as before, and dives out a window and manages with Bo-Katan with teamwork to. But there's more action, a lot of neon signs. And a lot of fast moving, a lot of floating advertisements. So another modern city, though the city does seem to be on the ground level. Yeah, here's a Mandalorian. He goes through one thing, goes into, maybe it's just no, it looks like maybe it's a noodle place. But yeah, and then they take this battle bot down. Then you get these like little tiny droids that come in to secure the area and clean it up and keep everybody off. That was interesting. I liked that. And they're trying to get to they say, okay, how are we going to figure out anything more than what we know now? Oh, we found a spark pad, which is like matches. What does it say? The resistor. So sounds like a droid bar. There's droid bars? What in the what? Let's check it out then. There's an address on here. Okay, so then we get this really cool sequence. So I don't know if this is Well, it's just familiar, like in a good way. But so they are working as a team, and now Bo-Katan's like, I don't need you messing with these droids, so let me take the lead at this droid bar. They go down an alley. There's two droids talking. Kind of like, I like the look of your cap. And the other droid says, well, but there's two neon signs outside the bar. They go in, and this is another one where you might want to pause it or rewatch it, especially if you go to theme parks and stuff like that. First off, it opens with them cheersing some sort of liquid. And then also, if this reminds me a little bit of Doctor Who, only thematically, briefly, but okay, pause it. You get like every type of droid you've seen or not seen before. And it just droids having fun. I mean, one's like, so there's one here at 2429. I can't even remember the droid on the left where I've seen that droid before, if it was in the original Star Wars on the Jawa ship. But yeah, there's a lot of familiar droids, including, there's also like a bright, shiny teal C3 units. But yeah, a bunch of R2 units. And then, okay, there's the timestamp is, we at 2432. There's not one, there's two pilots of Star Tours pilots. And I guess they're former Star Tours pilots because they were replaced by C3PO. And that was once voiced that when I forgot the name of the unit. Somebody in the audience will remember. But they were a voice. It was the one on Star Tours was voiced by Paul Rubens. And then it's another Katie, but I can't think of the actress's last name, who currently, when you go to board Star Tours, gives the thing and then at the end and says, bye-bye. I can't think of that Katie's last name. But yeah, there's a record, like the record just doesn't scratch. The record stops as Mandalorian and Bo-Katan come in. People are like, what in the name? And so I don't think they get many humans in here. I mean, no offense, if I was drinking, the first place I would go after I had gone someplace and had like 10 to 15 drinks would be a droid bar. And it'd probably be best if I went by myself, but the first time I would probably be afraid and go, well, no, there's a high chance I would go there. And then, I mean, I guess they don't serve anything that I would drink, but then I'd be tapping the droids like, it's so hard. Like I would immediately think I'm a droid, and they'd say, by the way, why are you here? Say, because I can relate, man. But that, I don't have to live that way anymore. And then to say, can you help you? The bartender says, is this a resistor? We found this spark pad on a droid that was acting out. Well, we got a lot of spark pads. What are you getting at? Malfunctions. They all point back to this oil can. Let me check my registry. We're in full compliance. Mandalorian gets tough. I'll yank your memory circuit. And everybody says, whoa, that's not nice. And the shiny R2 unit tries to go. The Mandalorian says, no one leaves. And Bo-Katan says, let me speak to my partner for a minute here. Tone it down, dude. And he goes, you can't reason with droids. This is, oh my God, the dialogue in this episode. Oh, whoops, I hit the wrong button. He says, you can't reason with droids. They're logical or something. Oh, I backed up a lot here. But yeah. So we see the droids. They go to the bar. Says, okay, listen, man, you can't reason with droids. Their behavior's programmed. All they do is reason. And he goes, yeah, but they're also causing trouble. And she goes, listen, you're not helping. Just because malfunctioning droids visit here doesn't mean that. And actually, they say it loud enough so the bartender hears this. Says, I want to help. We're worried about this too. And this is when you get into this idea that droids love humans. That reminds me of Doctor Who of like how Doctor Who's always like, humans are great, man. Because they say, yeah, what if they decide they don't want droids on this planet anymore? Replace you with what? With humans. You know what's going on with the New Republic's decommissioning everything. We're refurbished droids. Some of them before the separatist era. We don't want to be scrapped. This is our second chance here in Plaisir. And they go, well, this isn't helping your cause. And they go, yeah, that's why we want to help. We've got a lot. We don't want to be replaced. We got a lot to contribute. Human life is so short, and they don't ask much of us. Organics created us. It's the least we can do. And all the droids cheer, yay, humanoids, organics, hooray for organics. And I say, that's good programming. Whoever programmed that in there. So they sit down with the bartender who has a record of like the different batches of, what do they drink? Nepenthe. Nepenthe. It's not booze. It's Nepenthe. It's a viscous lubricant that protects against mechanical wear and delivers programmed subparticles. Okay, so they drink Nepenthe. Yeah, and it helps their mainframe, fill in their mainframe, gaps in the mainframe or something. And, all the droids had this one batch in Nepenthe. So, interesting, eh? It is interesting. Who do you buy your Nepenthe from? And then they go to a place where androids do dream of electric big farms in the sky, not sheep, or droids do. And they take out some viscous lubricant from the droid, the battle droid. And we actually have a medical droid and then a human. And they say, let's put it in the centrifuge and centrifuge it up. See if we can figure out this Nepenthe stuff. And it says, all right, let's check it out here. Yeah, there's subparticles. Okay. Are they still active? Oh, yeah. Because the medical droid starts putting on a laser light show, which is not good for anybody because you can't really see during a laser light show. And so they say, we don't have glasses on. So Mando Darksabers the medical droid. So the medical droid starts to dream of big farms in the sky instead of electric sheep. Guess it's still active. Let's do a close-up. Wait a second. There's subparticles in here. These are nanobots. That's like a main thing in nanodroids. How'd nanodroids get into Nepenthe? Who knows? Maybe they fell in there? What's that? Just a scratch, striations. No, zoom in. No, it's probably malleability stuff. Nope, it's a chain code. Or something. It's writing, yeah. We could, okay, it is a chain code. If it has a chain code, we could figure out where it's from. And yeah, we learned that people aren't good at covering the tracks or everything's tracked here, so no reason to bother. Yeah, these came from the Techno Union. They've been in cold storage for ages. And they came through droid acquisitions, so that's strange. How'd they get here? They were requisitioned by a security office. Is that unusual? Unusual. It's not allowed. There's not even a record of this transaction, except for the one we're looking at. These were ordered by an individual with the name of Commissioner Hellgate, a.k.a. Doc Brown. So they say, okay, let's go down there. They go back to the security office. Commissioner Hellgate's working hard. Hey, Commissioner, we got some questions for you. I'm too busy looking for anomalies in the data farm. We know about the Nepenthe and the nano droids. You did it. You're coming with us. Everybody turns around. What? We always knew he was a bad boss. And he does this move. He stands up and he flicks away the protective cover in one of the most fluid motions I've ever seen. What time is that at? You'd start at 30:37. He stands up and he flicks open the protective cover, I mean, it's the definition of a fluid motion. Let me see it again. Everybody goes, what? And he does it. And then he gets ready to press the button. Everybody freeze. This is a fail safe. And this will convert the droids back into troublemakers. Everybody says, not the droids. And he says, don't make me do it. And Bo-Katan says, why are you going to bother? It's over. Give up. I never give up. Why bother? All I do is bother. I don't give up to anybody, and I won't give up to you. So, and she goes, are you a separatist? He goes, I'm not a separatist. He goes, I support democracy. But it doesn't look, he goes, Count Dooku was a visionary, and the Jedi had to get in the way. And then Bo-Katan just sings him to sleep. And she says, okay. And she goes, politics. Then we see, okay, then we get back into Alice in Wonderland fun. What time are we at now? 31:50. So this is the Alice in Wonderland sequence. They're playing croquet, bouncing beetle croquet. And no, I'm not making that up. That's really what they're playing or something like it. And her name's not the Countess though, but Milady. She has a red and blue beetle ball. So she takes it. Oh, there's no mallet, so it's just by tossing. So more like bocce. And she focuses, does a underhand throw, bounces it off another beetle, but she does get help from Grogu's force. Everybody cheers because it's like a perfect quadro blast. Never seen such a streak. And then they walk in with Commissioner Hellgate. Why are you in trouble? Here's the source of your malfunctions. Really? Yes, it's true, milady. And they can't believe it. If this is the quack to call him the Stifling Slimy. This planet's unrecognizable since this guy arrived, Captain Bombier. And she says, geez, I'm disappointed. You know, you served my family well, but Captain Bombier is the love of my life. His heart is true. Does seem like his heart is true. Maybe he's made some mistakes in the past. Who hasn't? Isn't there a little room for forgiveness in this galaxy so vast? And he says, I'm sorry I disappointed you. He goes, maybe I can get your forgiveness too. And she goes, well, not immediately. Perhaps, but for now you have to live on the exile on the moon of Paraquat. And people, this is another, I don't know, it's easy to discount these episodes, but when you really watch them, this is, it stuck out to me even when I was watching it for pleasure. Okay, so it's, she says, Paraquat, 3321. Then there's a reaction from the partygoers and then from, Commissioner Hellgate, that's just like, is great. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, everybody at the party goes, what? And he goes, oh my gosh, anything but that. He doesn't speak a word, but he looks like he had 15 lemon heads. And then he goes off like, let's see if we can look it up while we're just here live. I'm in my car, so I'm typing with one hand. Moon of, how do you think you spell it? P-A-R-A-Q. Yeah, there we go. It came up. P-A-R-A-Q-U-A-T is Paraquat. It's also a game. I guess that's not how you spell it. Let's see. Mandalorian. Oh, but it's spelled M-A-N-D. Mandalorian. Don't see anything about the moon. But here's the thing. You don't need to see anything. You don't want to end up on the moon of Paraquat. Yeah, whatever. I mean, you don't want to go there. Okay, so then she says, as for you, Lady Bo-Katan Kryze and Din Djarin of Concordia, and there's activity going on in the background. Oh, whoa, sorry. Back it up. Okay. If you pause again, you could see birds and the giant purple what is that thing called? What's the thing with a long neck called? A giraffe. It's not a giraffe, but it is cool. So I like when there's stuff going on in the background. There's birds flying. There's people walking. Okay, I grant you audience with our Mandalorian protectors. There was also just a flying squirrel, a giant one, and the key to Plaisir. You know, how about that? Bring me the key. And it's a giant key. But Bo-Katan knows how this goes, so accepts it graciously. You'll always be welcomed in our domed paradise. Yeah, now there's in the background a giant, I don't know. And then I'm going to grant knighthood to Baby Oso, a.k.a. Grogu. The Ancient Order of Independent Regencies. You're a knight of that. AOIR. Go in peace, brave travelers, into AOIR. Grogu, AOIR. That'll be at the end of Grogu's name from like OBE, you know? Or maybe KNIOR. She waves goodbye in a cute way, and then Grogu waves back. Then they get back in the tubes, and they're approaching Field 3. Bo-Katan's looking stressed, but you're the leader, the Mandal. They'll follow you. Yeah, I'm not their leader anymore. Axe Woves is, not wolves. Woves. He goes, what's your play? Even Grogu says, what's your play? Well, I know when I get there. So, shoot off through the tubes. They're walking, and they walk into the, it's a field of Mandalorians working, chilling. Giant ships. They're having coffee, actually, or tea. Or maybe they're having an adult beverage. They drink out of shiny mugs. They have flags up. A couple of people are playing catch, maybe. They see, floating pram, a shiny Mandalorian, and Bo-Katan. They say, did you come back to join us? And Bo-Katan says, I've come back to reclaim my fleets. Not your fleet anymore, it's mine. Woves. Axe Woves. Woves what? Because I'm quite fond of being in command. And she starts walking again, slowly, very, in a Western style, like a dead-end town, an East Town boy and a West End girl. Challenge you, one warrior to another, to see who's going to lead this thing. Do you accept my challenge? He stands up, puts his drink down, and says, I do. And then they say, everybody dance now. Doot, 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 doot. And she says, I'm going to make you sweat indeed. And he says to her, is that dope enough? And she goes back, she says, indeed. And they make a lot of CNC Music Factory level moves. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he uses his jetpack a lot more. I guess maybe he comes over reliant on it. It does seem like Bo-Katan is a superior. It definitely has, what does he call it? The superior dexterity. Okay, no, Bo-Katan just used the jetpack. And so at first she gets him once. She says, "Do you yield?" He uses his jetpack. Says no. Then she gets him again. She uses her jetpack. Like first she dodges a flame, but then she, again she says, "Do you yield?" And he says, "I guess so." But his fingers are crossed because as soon as he yields, he says, "By the way, I got you a technicality. You still don't have the darksaber. He does, and you should have danced off with him." She goes, "This is so counterproductive." And she stands up. She goes, "Don't you guys get this? Like, this is counterproductive." Everybody comes out of their tents. Speech time. Mandalorians are stronger together. Why can't we figure that out? And Axelrod still wants to run his mouth. Goes, this guy's not even a Mandalorian, and he's got the Darksaber. Din Djarin took the creed, walked the way, just like our ancestors did. and Run DMC and Aerosmith. He's every bit as Mandalorian as they were. Some of them weren't even Mandalorians. They were just rock hip hop crossover hits. According to our ways, the ruler of Mandalore must possess a dark saber, except if it's me, Axe Woves. Goes, because I was just technically part-time. And then Mando steps up and he says, "Here, I'll just give it to you." And then for some reason, Axe Woves thinks that's funny. I would have wove him a new haircut. And she goes, "It's not a gift to be given as much as I appreciate it. Also, it's not the best time." He goes, "It's not a gift, by the way." He goes, "You're not going to believe this, but it's the truth. I went to Mandalore to take a bath." Somebody raises their hand. He goes, "No, not to give my child a bath, for me to take a bath." And someone else raises his hand. He goes, "In the living waters of Mandalore, not just to take any bath, to take a specific bath, to be redeemed." And they say, "Okay." He goes, "On the way to the bath, got sidetracked. And I met a being that was part mechanical, part organic. It, for some reason, thought it was running a Build-A-Bear workshop." Somebody else raises their hand, and he says, "Okay, Build-A-Bear workshop. Who here knows what it means to have a stuffed animal?" People kind of are, okay. Who here, when they were a child, had a non-living, comfort-based, and they say a plushie, and they says, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, basic's not my," he goes, "Does everyone know what a plushie is?" And then people kind of talk among themselves. Very quickly, everyone starts to, "Oh, okay. Yeah. He goes, "On some planets, there's something called a Build-A-Bear workshop. For our purposes, a plushie, build your own plushie workshop." Where he goes, "No, it's only a few different models, and basically you're just putting the stuffing in and choosing a few accoutrements." Everyone kind of gets that, but they find it a little confusing. Also, in this context, they find it even more confusing. And he says, "Okay, I'll repeat myself again because I could tell it's confusing. Deep in the heart of Mandalore, on the way to the living waters where I was going to take a bath," everyone nods, "I was sidetracked when I met somebody." Everyone nods. That somebody was running a build your own plushie place. It doesn't make any sense, but to this being, it did make sense. Can we agree on that? Again, he had to answer a couple more questions, but, requests for information, and they say, "Okay, we get it now. It's not going to ever make any sense, but this organic mechanical being was running its own Build-A-Plushie workshop deep in Mandalore with no customers. They were the only customer." Okay, they agree on that. The Build-A-Bear plushie workshop was low on plushie stuffing. And he says, "Yes, before I got there. For some reason, this being thought I was a stuffed plushie and was going to restock its plushie materials with plushie, thinking I was full of plushie stuffing." Then one person, who knows if they said, Mandalore said, "No, I'm not full of plushie stuffing. I'm an organic being." And they say, okay. So they say, "Are you with me?" They say, "So you, a fully able-bodied Mandalorian." And he goes, "Yeah, I was captured and I was about to be made into plushie stuffing. Fully incapacitated. Bo-Katan rescued me. I had lost the Darksaber." And everybody's jaws were literally dropped for like 5 minutes. And the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan, even Axe Woves sat there while everybody just absorbed the information. And then he said, "Spectacularly rescued me using the Darksaber. It got me out of there and my child." And they said, "Okay, Bo-Katan came to your rescue." And he said, "Yes." And but he goes, "The Darksaber was taken from me, and Bo-Katan saved me and defeated the person who defeated me." Everybody goes, "Oh, okay. Now it's making more sense." Long sequence, though. Would this blade not belong to her in that case? And even Bo-Katan realizes, you should have given me this like 2 episodes ago. You're right. And everyone says, and then Mandalorian says, would it not belong to her? Even Axe Woves has to say, you're right. Then they say, wait a second. Are you sure you're not full of stuffing? Plushy stuffing? It would. Even a couple of people stand at attention right away, realizing. So then he hands it over to Bo-Katan. I return this blade to its rightful owner. And Bo-Katan takes it and says, okay. Mandalorian nods, some wind in her hair, respect to some of the night owls. Mandalorian stands at her side. She extends the Darksaber, and we do a kind of a slow zoom, and then it cuts to black, and then we see Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode, and then we see the fish tank from the beginning. Jon Favreau wrote it. Then we see a extended shot of the main dome of the Dome City. Then we see a zoom in of a landing pad with Bo-Katan's ship at the Dome City and some tubes. Then we see the Imperial droids that look like R2 and C-3PO. Then we see the Dome City domes inside domes. Holy cow. I never even thought about that. That's domes within domes. I think that was that one of the things that, it sounds like I just rewatched the Blade Runner, and I'm pretty sure he had to say that, domes within domes, domes within domes. That's a deep cut joke, but it's at sunset. Then we see the, what is it called? The extraction party, Lizzo's name. Then we see the camera room, and then we see the mechanical room where the droid repairs and buildings going on. Then we're at the loading docks. We see a bunch of battle droids lined up. Then we see the kind of city droid takedown, Mandalorian and Bo-Katan. Next, we're at the droid bar. Then we're at the room where droids dream of big farms in the sky. Then we're back in kind of the game room, the royal game room, I guess. Then the landing pad, the Mandalorian landing pads. There's actually one ship in orbit right now, and that's it. So that's the end of the episode. Thanks for listening, everybody. And talk to you again soon. Good night. All right. I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. I want to thank Callie, Zyra, and Jillian. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Lauren, Sarah, and Grace. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Sarah, Ken, and Lou. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Anna, Trilly, and Sandra. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Arisa, Jerry, and Matt. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Anna, Patrick, and Zara. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Jennifer, Samantha, and DeJoel. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Galen, Chelsea, and June. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Melissa, Kayla, and Antonia. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Quim, Rafaela, and Dalton. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Carl, Ashley, and Noah. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. I want to thank Peter, Jess, and Nicole. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. And I want to thank Heather and Sarah. Thank you. Thanks, and good night, everybody. Couldn't do it without the people that support the show directly on Patreon or Apple Podcasts or support our sponsors. But you can also help the show for free by spreading the word. And yeah, thank you so much. Thanks and good night.